Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa with Gilda's Club Grand Rapids, and it's good to be with you today. Hope that you all had a safe and wonderful holiday. We know that we are just so grateful for all of you and for this opportunity to be here in the community, bringing awareness and healing around cancer and grief journeys. If you're new to this Facebook post or to Gilda's Club or to a cancer or grief journey, we would love to talk with you, get you connected with our free support program. You can just give us a call at 453-8300 or look on our website, gildasclubgr.org. And if you're enjoying our conversation today or you have a question for our guest, please like this post and then just post your question right in underneath the live, and we'll make sure that our guest gets those questions. If you felt like it was helpful and you want to share it, we love to share the wealth around here. So please share it with your friends on your Facebook or wherever. And if you want to watch it again, we have it recording and it'll be on our website and our YouTube page, and it will stay also on our Facebook page, so you can watch it again if you would like to. So today I have a wonderful guest with me, Paula, and she is also known as the Forgiveness Lady. And she's been teaching forgiveness and studying forgiveness for at least 20 years. And she teaches how to forgive what you can't forget. Really important, especially during this time of year. So in her workshops, she teaches a 7-step method. And she also, everyone that comes to the workshop will leave knowing exactly what those 7 steps are. She's taught this workshop for us at Gilda's Club. She's a member of Gilda's Club, and she's a delight to have with us. Hi, Paula. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Melissa.
Yeah. Is there anything I missed on the introduction that you want to say?
No, it was very good. Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm glad that we're here together, and I just really feel passionate about this topic specifically at this time of year, I think, and in our moment in our world, that there is a big space for forgiveness and understanding and healing ourselves as we navigate cancer, grief, and everything else that comes along with what's going on in our world today. So,
yes.
Great. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say that I have found in research that 61% of people that are on a cancer journey also have a forgiveness issue.
Oh.
I was quite surprised at how high that was.
Yeah. And when you say a forgiveness issue, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm not sure what the researcher meant, but I would imagine that it's got to be that the unforgiveness is impeding on their life in some way.
I see. Yeah. And that can often happen when you hold a resentment or you're in estrangement with someone, that it's a heavy burden to carry as we move through our lives. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly is.
So Paula, tell me, how did you become passionate about this process of forgiveness? What brought you to it?
Well, I had something that I was unable to forgive. And I must admit that at first I didn't really want to forgive. But as the years went by, and I'm talking 17 years later, I was still stuck in unforgiveness. And I was getting older, and I thought, boy, there's got to be a different way. So at that point that I realized I really want to forgive, I would have paid any type of money to any program if they would have just told me how to forgive. But back then, there wasn't programs out there there are a few people now that have programs and steps on how to forgive. And so I just still carried it with me while trying to figure out how to forgive. And I found a 7-step method over the next 8 years. And when I finally truly forgave, I went back in my mind and thought, well, I took this step here and this step here that I had learned. And so then I put it together and started teaching the steps in about 2009.
Ah, okay. And did you find this? I mean, I think I'm making an assumption, but this great release in your 7 steps when you got to that final place of forgiveness?
Oh, definitely. It was just like the weight of the world coming off my shoulders. And I was just so thankful. And that's why I figured if I could find these steps, I could share them with other people and they could learn in a day or in a couple of days, depending on what program they attended. And then they would be able to be free instead of have to wait the 8 years I had to wait.
So it really inspired you to want to help people to get to that place that took you maybe longer than you're hoping for with them, and offering that as a form of healing for
Yes.
people. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, offered that to people. I just felt that it was my calling in life at that point.
Sure. And there's a lot of research out there that once you've forgiven or you're able to give up resentments, that there's a great impact on your health. There's a great release on your health, and there's a great opening in your life and being able to lean into the living part. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, why do you think, well, we just talked about that, but who is the forgiveness for? Do you think it's for the other people that we're thinking about harmed us? And what is, maybe you could tell me a little bit about, well, let's just answer that question first. Yeah.
Yes, I think the forgiveness is for the forgiver, because oftentimes the people that have really hurt us, 1, don't care, or 2, are just plain unaware of what they have done and the serious impact that it's had on our lives. So we really forgive to bring peace back into our own life. And the other thing that's very closely related to this part of the subject is many people in my workshops, they say, oh, I can forgive if they would apologize.
Yeah.
Well, quite frequently, in fact, almost always, an apology isn't coming the person's way for various reasons. That the other people just feel they shouldn't apologize, or they don't want to, or they don't realize they did anything wrong.
Yeah. And so is there a part in your process where the person has to go to the other person and say to them, I forgive you, face to face? Is that a part of your process?
No, it is not part of my 7 steps. I don't personally believe that would work very well, unless the person has already apologized, because they probably don't realize that they really hurt you, or they don't care that they hurt you. Okay. So I don't think it's going to help the forgiveness process.
Yeah, go ahead.
There may be other programs that have that in it, but I just have found through the workshops that it just does not really seem to come to fruition that way.
Well, and I think that's I think it's a fear of a lot of people, that I have to go to this person and I have to confront them, or I have to have this moment, that might sometimes keep people from really thinking that they can forgive somebody or before doing the actual work. when what you're saying is you can get those results without having to go through that in that part of that face to face, that you could do this internally with yourself in this process. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's a on step 7 is a thing that people say to try to really free themselves from the hurt of the incident. And I give a guarantee in the workshop that if it doesn't work, they say it every day for 10 days, and it doesn't work, they can retake the workshop for free. So, although
Yeah.
at Gilda's, whenever I gave workshops, they were free anyway. So that was
right. But that's kind of a guarantee. That's how strongly, it sounds to me like that's how strongly and how passionately you feel about this 7-step program.
Yes, I just figured if it worked for me, it could work for anyone else.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So why don't you tell us about the 7-step program? And yeah.
Well, the 7 steps, I try to make them very concise so people could remember them. The first step is acquire new information. And the second is relate to someone with a similar loss. And the third is you gotta wanna.
I love that. There's got to be some desire there, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Then the 4th step is choose to forgive. And this was very life-changing for me. Choose to forgive, for they know not what they do. Now, some people will know where that came from if they have certain religious persuasion. Some people won't. And I don't teach any type of religion because that would exclude some people that don't believe, in the Western type of religions. And, but it really does work. Choose to forgive, for they know not what they do. Most of them are just so unaware of the degree of pain that they have caused.
Mm-hmm.
And number 5 is grieve and accept. And then I teach a method to do that in the workshops. And then 6 is free yourself from painful memories. And I teach a method that is just phenomenal in dealing with painful memories. It's just, I've never had anyone that it didn't work for. And then number 7 is release the hurt and bitterness. And that's where I come into the several sentences that I have them say whenever it comes back to mind for 10 days. And as I say, no one has come back to say it didn't work for them.
Oh, that's so cool. It sounds I love a number of things about it. That you're connecting people together to have a conversation, to talk about it, so that they don't feel so alone in their, in their stuckness, their unforgiveness. And so then you're creating community, creating support already for this movement forward, which is really important in self-healing. And then these other beautiful steps of coming to know yourself really in how you're going to do this. And I love that you got to want to. And so then you get to self-reflect. Do I really want to do this? Am I really ready to shift? And then the grace of understanding of they may not know what they do. And a friend of mine always talks about impact versus intention. And sometimes people might have one intention and not realizing that it had this other impact, this negative impact on you. And so finding some place for grace and understanding and a wider perspective about that is really important. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. And I don't know, even like with step one, the acquire new information, is that people, I mean, even if they're struggling and realize, oh my gosh, I really want to forgive, if they don't get new information in, they won't be able to forgive with the same mindset that has them stuck in unforgiveness.
Mm.
They have to find new information that will help them make the shift.
So what does that look like, finding new information? Can you say more about what you mean by that?
Well, by that, I mean going to a forgiveness workshop or a forgiveness lecture by any other person that knows about forgiveness. Or as I did, I just read a lot of books. And it was surprising that I could find things about forgiveness when it wasn't even a forgiveness book, but just within the book, something would really hit me. Oh my goodness, you know.
So it's not necessarily new information about the actual event or injury, but you're talking about new perspective in the way of thinking and opening really to the process of forgiveness.
Yes.
Do you give a book list, a reading list to your workshop attendees?
I have not, but thanks for the suggestion. I will get one together.
I would love one.
Yeah, I will get one together.
Yeah, because I think that would be, important to do that research piece. Yeah. Oh, very neat. And it seems, let me ask you this, and you can let me know if it's too personal, but what benefits have you seen in your life, specifically in doing this process and then helping others do this process?
Oh, in doing the process, it just set me free. All my thoughts, when I wasn't very, very busy doing something, my thoughts would go back to what they did to me. And it just was such a waste of life. 17 years like that is a lot of life. If some of your viewers now are only 25 or something, they're probably thinking, oh my, that is a lot of time.
And so it freed you from all of that mental space and energy of perseverating and the kids nowadays say overthinking, about this injury or about this situation. And so you were just freed from all of that. And so did you find that you had more time, more heart to do those things that you really loved?
Oh, yes. And then to be able to focus on something positive, like getting the steps together to teach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So really then, you can just see that, spending time thinking about this injury and then it opening up so that so much so you could write this program and, yeah.
And just enjoy your life more. Just be thankful for all the things in your life. It's just a totally different life after that.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And I would bet your relationships are deeper and more meaningful after that too.
Oh, yes. You're very right.
That's great. And can you say a little bit more about that? Forgiving, how to forgive what you can't forget. And say a little bit about that, forgiving and forgetting.
Yeah, that's my elevator pitch. How to forgive what you can't forget. It just is so true, because when you can't forget something and it's tying you down to the past, then when you finally decide to forgive and go through the process, then you're just freed up to go on with your life.
Yeah. And does it mean you have to forget? There's some things people say, I don't want to forget that they did this or that I had that experience, but I just don't want to be tied to it all the time. Yeah.
Because you're never going to really forget what happened. What I find is that you will remember it in a different way. The pain will no longer be attached to it.
Yeah. Sometimes people talk about when they get to a place of forgiveness that they're able to have some gratitude about the learning of going through difficult times or having a difficult experience. And like you might use that to propel them into helping others or inspire them to do something else in honor of their healing, really.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I feel like that was a bit of what Gilda Radner did in developing the Gilda's Club, is that she had to come to some sort of forgiveness with her cancer, which leads me to my next thing is that, can we hold, can we have resentments against cancer, against illness, against maybe ourselves for not doing something or doing something else. And does that come up in your workshops?
The issue of self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And we can apply these steps to ourselves too. Because some people, I find that the reason they can't forgive others is they really can't forgive themselves. And so sometimes that is the place to start.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes people even get stuck in this unforgiving themselves for just being human, just being who they are and making mistakes. And that it's a lot, giving themselves grace to just make mistakes. Yeah.
That one thing that I tell them, especially ones that are struggling really badly with self-forgiveness, is that if you had the opportunity to go back to what the person had done, would you do it differently? And then most all of them say, of course, And then I say, so then forgive yourself.
Mm.
And I think that they deserve their own forgiveness at that point.
Yeah.
That they learned whatever lesson they were to learn, and that it's just too bad we can't go back and change things.
Right. But that's even doing things differently. When you step into self-forgiveness, you are doing it differently than you were before, so you are changing the past by making meaning of it in the current moment. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you come across people who feel resentful or angry or having a hard time forgiving their bodies, maybe, or cancer itself for either having taken their loved one or maybe they're on a cancer journey and the process of forgiving your cancer?
No, I personally have not, because I'm on a cancer journey myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm sharing that is because it is Gilda's Club.
Yeah.
So I hope that people would find it easier to relate to this. But I just didn't hold any bitterness towards the cancer. When they told me, I just said, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. And that just happens to be my thought pattern. But I can understand how some people could really have bitterness towards their cancer. It's just I don't have an answer for it because
Yeah.
I struggle with it.
Do you think your process could work for that? An experience of having a resentment against your cancer? Not yours, but somebody,
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like you could apply the 7 steps to that too.
Yeah.
But I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think it would too, honestly, looking at it and talking to you about it. And, coming to, and maybe because of your practice of forgiveness and your teaching, that you were able to come to this place of acceptance. And, let's just see what we can do in your attitude towards your cancer. And so, and again, that's what Gilda was all about, is that she was living with. She wasn't dying from, she wasn't, she was just trying to be in that moment of life, for as long as she could, and wanted other people to do that too, have the opportunity. So
Yeah, I really love that she said that, living with cancer
yeah,
instead of battling against. I just never thought that way myself.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of freedom in that, isn't there?
Yes.
Oh, well, this is such a great topic, and I'm sure we could talk for a long time. And there's a lot of information out there about forgiveness. And if you want more information from Paula, you can let us know. We'd help you get in touch with her. Also, we'll list her website here, and hope to have her at Gilda's Club, either virtually or in person, however that works out, for another one of her workshops here. And Paula, I'm so grateful for you to share, to be inspired to write this and to share your wisdom and your hope and your strength with us and our members at Gilda's. We so appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Again, if you'd like to know more about our cancer or grief support community, it's 100% free of charge. We'd love to get you connected. Just give us a call, 453-8300, or look on our website, gildasclub.gr.org. We have a lot of hybrid, in-person and online virtual classes and groups going on right now. If you're interested in figuring out if your group is online or virtual or hybrid, just give us a call or look on the website. There's some information there for you. We also have some activities going on, a holiday activity, and we would love to see you or hear from you. Hope that you are all well and safe, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, everyone. Thanks again, Paula.
Thank you.